LS Darius here. Happy holidays. It's today is New Year. Oh my God. Oh, it's kind of close. What we have here in front of me, this is my new 6.0 LS2. It's got a forged bottom end, so it's got good rods and pistons. I'm going to put my stock LS1 heads back on it. I already had the surface deck on my old heads that came off the LS1. I'm going to put those heads back on here. They're nothing fancy. They're just 241s. I already cleaned the surface off early this morning. I took a razor blade to it. I went to like 3 different parts stores and I was looking for some gasket remover, which this block wasn't that bad, but I decided just to scrape the surface and clean it up. I put a new timing set on here. Well, this ain't a new timing set. This timing set actually came off the LS1. I don't like the slack that this timing chain has. And apparently on the forums, this is completely normal. So I went ahead and I decided I was gonna do a preventative measure by getting a timing chain guide to go between the timing chain. But I didn't notice before I ordered my timing chain guides that there's no holes here to even mount this. So I guess I'm gonna have to run it without the guides. The LS1 had the holes here for the guides, but this one don't. I also picked up these lifter trays. Now, there was nothing wrong with the old lifter trays that came out of the LS1. I decided again to do some preventative maintenance and just going to replace the trays. No more than what they are. I think they're like 30 bucks for the OEM ones. Just buy the new ones and just slap them in, and that's just extra reassurance. As far as the oil pump that's on here, I went with a 355 oil pump. It's the Melon pump. I had a 295 on the LS1, but the guy that I bought the engine from told me that he ran this oil pump, and I want to put this engine back exactly how the guy that had it, because I want this engine to perform its best, and it performed really well when he owned it. It also came with a stage 3 turbo cam. Now the LS1 had a stage 2 in it, so this one has a stage 3. I wanted to use my old cam out of my old motor, but one of the lobes was scarred, so I decided just to put this one in it. This cam actually was originally in this motor, so I just bought the cam from him. I also bought the lifters and I bought the push rods from him, which there's nothing wrong with my lifters and push rods, but being that the cam was a little scarred, I'm kind of skeptical of using my old lifters because I didn't label them, so I don't know which one is which. I don't want to accidentally put a bad lifter in this motor and risk damaging my new camshaft. That makes sense? As far as my oil pan go, I went ahead and went back with a factory GM oil pan that came on the LS1. And the only reason I did that was I could have got a different oil pan. I could have got the Moroso one, but it's not really in my budget. And I was really limited on my options because I do still have the stock K-member in my car. If I had a tube K-member, I could have pretty much used any oil pan that I really wanted to use, but I can't because I'm limited to what I can do. I also picked up a brand new pickup tube. Nothing was wrong with my old pickup tube. Again, I just want to put new parts on here because I don't want to take no chances of sucking any kind of trash through my motor or anything from my old motor. 241 heads. They're pretty much the same thing as like 243s. I already had them surfaced, so they're fresh. They're ready to go. All I gotta do is take some compressed air and just blow them out. I did have one bad valve in it, but the guy that machined these heads, he went ahead and replaced one of my valves. I think it was on like cylinder 1. That's the cylinder that it broke the piston in. So he already checked the springs. The springs checked out good. Everything is working properly. He pressure tested the heads and there was no leaks in the heads whatsoever. Michigan Motorsports rocker arms. So these right here came with the trunnions already installed. I think if you bought the trunnions by themselves, the trunnions are like 150, but you can spend like $50 more and they come with the rockers. So that's a no-brainer. You don't have to worry about the needle bearings, and these can rotate 360 degrees. If you know, you know. But for the ones that don't know, the original rocker arms can only go up 90 degrees up, 90 degrees down. So they only do like a 180 rotation, which these can do a 360. So if you over rev the engine, you don't have to worry about your needle bearings falling inside of the motor, tearing your motor up. So, and I went with the exotic performance head studs. I'm running these studs because I don't want my motor to be knocking your gaskets out. Again, I want this motor to last me years on years. And you're supposed to use a thread chaser before you install your studs. So I made my own thread chaser. So I just took my angle grinder and I cut me a slit inside this old bolt that came out of my old motor. And whenever I thread this bolt in, it's going to catch all the trash inside those grooves. So I'm just going to thread one in by hand so I can show y'all what I'm talking about. Like, you can feel it's tight, but the bolt is doing its job by getting all the dirt out the threads. You don't want to use no power tools when you're doing this. You want to do this by hand. Okay, now it's all the way at the bottom. So when I pull this out, it should have trash in the grooves. See all that trash that it has in the groove? I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna clean the rest of the threads up. I'm gonna install my head studs. I already have my lifters soaking in oil over here. It's not breaking oil, but those lifters are used. So they was already pre-lubed. So it's not like when I start my engine, they're gonna be completely dry. So I just got them soaking in like some 530. I'm gonna be running like some 1540 or some 2050 inside my motor. First things first, I'm gonna go ahead and get all my lifters. And I'm gonna start putting them in the tray. Now that we got the lifters installed inside the trays, I'm gonna stick them inside the engine now. So I already blew this engine out with compressed air. I stuck these rags in there as I was cleaning the deck surface off. That way I didn't get extra trash inside of the lifter holes where the camshaft is. But they're very simple to install. You just wanna make sure they're pushed all the way down. This is what it look like in the trays. So now I'm about to do the fun part. But before I install these head studs, you want to use some of this assembly lube on your threads. So your fine threads, they stick outside the motor, and then your more coarse thread, they go inside the motor. And you're also going to use some assembly lube on your actual nut, like the bottom of your nut and the top of your washer where they both meet, where they sandwich together. You want to make sure you have assembly lube between there. That way there's not a lot of friction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and put the lube on these bolts, and I'm going to install them. And then I'm going to show y'all the final product. Once you get these studs installed, you want to thread them down all the way to the bottom till they stop. And then wherever your Allen key stops, you want to back it off a quarter of a turn. And then that'll be your final seating position. All right, got the head studs installed. This is what they look like. I got them all the way down at the bottom right now. Once I get the heads on, that's when I'm going to back them off quarter of a turn. This is what they look like. You got the smaller studs up top. Those are only going to get torqued down to 30 foot-pounds. These are at the end going to get torqued down to 90 foot-pounds at the end. I'm going to start off with 30, and then I'm going to go up to 60, and then I'm going to go up to 90. These are my new gaskets. They're the MLS gaskets. These were the gaskets that were ran on the motor originally. So I just went ahead and bought me a new set, and I'm going to be running these as well. I am going to attempt to put the pickup tube and oil pan on, and then I'm going to put these heads on. I was trying to test fit my new oil pan, which is this one here. And before y'all start roasting me in the comments about me getting another stock pan, y'all can feel free to reach out to me in my DMs inbox. And if y'all want to sponsor me to get me a better pan, hey, by all means. The Windage tray on this motor here, on this LS2, would not clear the oil pans. It had about a 1/2 inch gap between the pan and the front of the motor here. So I decided to take the Windage tray off my old motor. And sure enough, it's short. It's made different. This one is shorter. So now when I stick this Windage tray here on there, I can get my oil pan to clear. And also, I don't have any clearance issues with the oil pan, with the Windage tray, nor the Windage tray with the bottom of my piston rods. Everything clears. I already spunt the motor over and everything clears perfectly fine. All right, heads are on. Now I just got to put the nuts on the studs. Okay, now that I got my washers installed, this is the time where I say you want to put your lubricant between your actual nut and the actual washer. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of lubricant right here on the flat side. That way it cuts down on the friction. All right, I'm back at it again. I just had to have me some dinner. Now it's time to get busy. So now I'm about to get my impact, my quarter drive impact, and I'm about to run all these bolts down. I'm just gonna run them down and then I'm gonna start torquing them. And I'm gonna show y'all the torque sequence here in a second. So this right here is the torque sequence. So we're gonna start in the center and work our way out. I'm only gonna do 1 through 10. First, I'm gonna do 30 foot-pounds, then I'm gonna go to 60, and then the last pass, I'm gonna do 90. And then I do 11 through 15 at 30 foot-pounds, and that should complete it. But first, I'm gonna go ahead on and run the bolts down in the same order. I'm gonna run them down. With this, I'm not gonna tighten them. I got it on the lowest setting. I just torqued them to 30. Now I'm about to turn my torque wrench up to 60. Next pass is 60, and then the final pass is going to be 90. Oh, I went past it. $60. So I went ahead and I didn't record the final torque sequence, but I did go ahead and install all my trains, rocker arms, push rods. I put the harmonic balancer on. I got this piece of tape on here so when I was spinning the motor over as I was putting the trains in, I could see what top dead center was. Other than that, she's pretty much complete. Only thing I got to do tomorrow is modify the oil pan. I got to drill a hole here for my turbo drain. Drill a hole here. I went ahead and did a oil level sensor delete. So I just got this plug in here. I'm gonna put some red Loctite on it. So I shouldn't have any leaks there. I think everything else is pretty good. My biggest fear is this thing not working when I try to put it in the car and try to hit the key. I'm afraid it's not gonna start. Wish me luck, cross your fingers. I've never done this before, so hey, trial and error, right? I could have paid somebody to assemble it, but I felt it was better for me to try to take this opportunity to try to learn how to do it myself. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up button and click the subscribe button. And I'm gonna try to bring y'all some more content before too long. I only got a couple more things that I need to do to the car before she's ready to do a track outing. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching.